You know, I usually think of all of these cold opens in the shower. They're my shower thoughts. Unfortunately for you today, I didn't have a shower. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. Today we're taking a first look, run, and review of the new Traxxas TRX4M. And here that, oh, how did those get on? And unless you've been living under a rock, this new 18th scale platform from Traxxas definitely took a lot of attention away from everything else when it was released a few weeks back. Now the embargo has been lifted. Here they are in my hands on the workshop, on the bench, not on what's on the bench, but on the bench. And we're gonna give them a good once over, find out all the little bits and pieces and all the features, tell you what you get in the box, and show you how they perform. Now, first things first, the M in TRX4M obviously stands for Matt. You're welcome. They are 18th scale, so a little bit larger than some of the other mini RC stuff that's out on the market already. Definitely a whole new design. There is nothing carried over from anything else Traxxas makes. These are all new, and there are two different models currently. The Defender, which I quite like. I miss my original Defender body. That was a good-looking TRX4. And the TRX4M Bronco. Both of them are hard bodies. These are hard plastic bodies. There is a lot of great detail put into both of these trucks. There are some things that surprised me even when I took them out of the box. Speaking of, in the box, you get the truck, the TQ top qualifier radio, the Traxxas ID 2S LiPo USB-based charger. This does have a proprietary connector on it, so you will have to use Traxxas batteries with this charger if you're going to use it, and a 750 milliamp hour 2-cell LiPo. Warning, fire hazard. 20C, 7.4 volts, and the biggest warning label I've ever seen on the smallest battery ever. In addition to the truck, battery, charger, and controller, you also get this bag full of instructions. Hey, a warranty card. T-wrench, a couple of hex wrenches, and some shock clips to adjust your damping as well. You will need to supply your own AA batteries for the TQ controller. The Defender comes in 4 colors, gray, green, blue, and red, and the Bronco comes in white, black, blue, and red. So you do have some options out there for colors. The detail work on these bodies is spectacular. They are very true to the full-size versions. You do get a nice faux winch and fair lead on the Defender there. Nice chunky looking bumper, very much. This is like an exact recreation of their other larger TRX4 model. Snorkel, I like the whole cage around the windshield and the roof. Nice roof rack as well. Let's go around to the back here. Fuel cells, spare tire, which does not have a spare in it, it's just a spare tire cover. High lift jack, and another nice looking bumper at the back there too. Door handles, mirrors, the works. That's funny, there's no windshield wipers on this one, but there is on the Bronco. But a nice looking body. One thing to note, these fender flares on both models are separate from the body. They are not molded in, so they could be removed, which is really interesting. That's a really cool little feature. I'll get out my calculator and be sure to do a quick measurement to make sure these actually do fit into the 18th scale. I have my suspicions that they're fairly close to that number. We'll have to do some maths later, and I'll do that off screen because you do not want to watch my brain work that hard. For the sake of comparison in size, there is the full-size TRX4 Bronco, the 18th scale TRX4M, and an SCX24 Bronco as well, just so you get an idea of what you're getting in terms of the size of these vehicles. They all have their merits, but I think the 18th scale is going to be a little bit better outdoors over its competitors in the 24th scale market. Anyway, let's get this big one out of the way. We'll focus on the little ones again. Okay, a few other cosmetic things on the Bronco. One of the other differences, besides the wheel choice, you also get a licensed BF Goodrich KM3, which is a nice looking tire. They did a great job modeling this one at this scale. It's got the right width. I've seen this truck in real life, and that's what those tires look like on there, so that's really good. Nice job there. Does look really nice on the back as well. And these bodies do feature a full set of what I believe to be functional possible light buckets. They don't include LEDs in the body. You do get them as fog lamps there because those are attached to the body, a little bit easier to wire them that way. But I do suspect that that will be an option later down the road. Speaking of, there will be a ton of options available for both of these models, so it'll be really cool to see all of the different things that you'll be able to do to customize these right away. One small thing that I would have loved to have seen but don't see here, no inner fenders, but a couple of special edition body colors are available, including unpainted bodies. Is that what I saw there? Yeah, unpainted bodies, so you'll be able to paint these at home in any color you like on the outside because they are hard bodies. Keep that in mind. Now, let's take a look at the underside. There is a lot more to look at here and a lot more things to discuss that I think you'll find very compelling. So let's do that. First things first, these have the clipless body system, the come hither motion. Hey, Traxxas TRX4M, come hither. There we go. These are a weighty body, I might add. These do have a fair bit of weight to them. Those are not Lexan windows, they are clear plastic windows. And these are nice, rigid bodies. They look great, lots of good detail work. Really great to see that. There are light buckets, like I said. LED light kits will be available for both models as well. Okay, let's go over the chassis. C-channel rails. And I think probably the most interesting thing, they are not portal axles. These are just regular everyday straight axles. So Traxxas does know what those are. Okay. But really great to see a nice low center of gravity. The transmission is not very tall, sits below the chassis rails, which is really good to see. Plastic links, plastic drive shafts with some metal elements in there. Nice oil-filled shocks, which do have a great bit of rebound and nice dampening already in there. Electronics wise, we're seeing a ESC in the rear. It's mounted directly to the chassis between the two rear shock towers. There's a nice looking design on those shock towers too. They look like they'll be quite rigid. There's an extra port for lights. There is the battery, the proprietary, this is going to be a thing, I think, for people. If you're going to be running the stock electronics, that proprietary connector on the battery is going to be the way that you connect to this ESC. There is no way around that, unless you maybe make an adapter out of one of these plugs. I'm sure you could do that. Nice 180 87 turn Titan brushed motor, which is nice size for this scale. I think it's going to be a decent amount of motor. Waterproof servo and waterproof ESC, I should mention that as well. This is servo on axle, not chassis mounted, so you'll get the maximum performance out of that servo. It looks like it runs on a full 6 volts as well, so I'm sure there's a BEC on this ESC to regulate that voltage going to your servo. The ESC has 3 modes: Sport, which allows forward, reverse, and braking; Trail mode, which is default, that adds drag brake at neutral and also doesn't have instant reverse. And then there's Crawl mode, which activates full drag brake at neutral to 100% for maximum hill hold. This is kind of nice, this little black rubber strap here to hold your battery down. Let's put that in there just so you can see what that looks like. And there's a little clip there that clips it into place and keeps that battery really low on the chassis. That's great. I do like that as well. Looks great. I'm pretty impressed with the overall stoutness of this chassis. It's got some, once you put the battery in there, it's got some real weight to it, and it feels like planted. Feels like it's got a good distribution of weight. Let's find out what that distribution is. Never thought I would use this scale as much as I do, but I use it an awful lot now. Perfect left to right 50-50 weight distribution, 55 rear, 45 to the front. So it's actually pretty decent. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more weight up front. I think with tuning and accessories, we'll be able to get that weight much more forward. But not bad for right out of the box. That's pretty good. Overall, it weighs 521 grams. Is that grams? That's gotta be grams. Hey Siri, how many pounds is 522 grams? That's only 1.15 pounds? That seems so light. Traxxas is offering 3 different options for transmission ratios. There's the high range gearing, which is stock. There is a low range gearing as well, and a speed gearing in case you want to try for a monthly mayhem challenge with your TRX4M. It's pretty cool to see the number of accessories that Traxxas is already going to start offering along with the release of these trucks. I should mention that there is hex hardware throughout. There is no Phillips or any other weird screws here. It's all hex hardware, very easy to find drivers for them, and you should already have a set. If you've got any other RCs in the house from the modern era, you'll have the tools you'll need to work on this truck. Now I've gone ahead and attached the battery just to test steering throw, which is 45 degrees of axle steering, which is pretty darn good for a truck of this size. It definitely feels like there's enough torque there in that steering servo as well. Now, despite this being the high-end gearing, it's very quiet, very smooth, and has a nice low end. I'm pretty surprised with that. It'll still go fast if you want it to, but that's pretty darn good. That ESC does also have a drag brake, so they call it hill hold. You can hear it working there, and I think that's going to be fairly effective at preventing it from rolling down hills. Nice and smooth. I'm pretty impressed with that transmission. And a nice, decent steering radius as well. That's great. Just to see that much steering at this scale is pretty great too. Now, one thing that a lot of people saw as soon as this truck was released was that it included bushings, not bearings. There are no bearings at all in this truck, and partially that's to help keep the price down, but also it is a reliability issue using bearings at this scale and for the intended market. I'm sure if you were to give this to your kid, the first thing they would do is find the biggest mud puddle they could and drive it through it. It's just, I did it when I was a kid, so I'm sure they would still do it now. I think partially that's the reason that Traxxas decided to go with bushings. They don't wear out. I mean, they do eventually, but they don't wear out much over time. They are maintenance free, and they won't seize up like a bearing would after getting it wet and putting it away wet. Definitely see the value in doing that at this scale. I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, let's get this body on. I'm not going to do anything to this Defender. We're going to leave it stock, just like you see it. The Bronco, I am going to be adding as many upgrades and accessories as possible to make that one my own. I might even paint that body. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, but that one's going to be something I'm going to do my own touches on. This one's going to stay stock. It will be the friend truck. Like, hey, you want to try an RC truck? Here you go. Speaking of, what accessories and what upgrades would you like to see me do? What sort of changes or modifications would you like to see? Put a comment down below. You know I love reading through your feedback, and I try to answer as many of those comments as I can. And if you're enjoying this video and you like to see new releases, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you get updates anytime there's a new video from the Scale Builders Guild. I think this platform has a lot of potential, and I do like its slightly larger size, but still very travelable. Is that even a word? The very travel-friendly nature of the 18th scale. This is something that I could play with in the hotel room, but also probably take outside. And speaking of, why don't we take these outside right now? Let's go. Maybe I'm just a dead man walking. Keep praying now. My knees are bruised and bleeding. Lord, lay me down. I'm just a dead The TRX4M did surprise me. It is a very capable little truck. Despite its small size, I did find that it did very well outdoors, on the rocks and on the trails. That said, the high gearing that is included in the stock truck is a little bit too high, and if you want to take this truck rock crawling, you really should get that lower range gearbox installed. Some people might disagree with me, but I think the bushings was a smart move. Being able to just run the truck and not worry about rusting out your bearings, or any maintenance for that matter, is a really smart move, and with the intended audience, I think that's going to be a really key feature. The long list of already available accessories and upgrades really do make this a pretty compelling choice for your next small-scale crawler. I know I'll be taking the Bronco and adding as many upgrades as possible to make it the most capable truck I can. Knowing that the electronics are waterproof out of the box is a really great peace of mind as well. Being able to basically submerge this truck if you wanted is a pretty great option to have, because sometimes it's fun to get muddy. Despite its small size, I was pretty impressed with its capability. Even on these what I would consider to be more tent scale obstacles, this truck really surprised me. I'll be sure to put links down below to where you can find out more information about the TRX4M if you have been living under a rock. Traxxas has a really great website with far more detail than I could ever offer, and I will be sure to put that down below. I do like the simplicity. I'm glad that they didn't overdo it. I think that at this scale, the simpler, the better, and these are certainly that. I love that they went hard body. I love that they went a little bit larger. One tiny thing that I kind of wish they took a closer look at was maybe doing a foam for these tires. I know at this scale you don't really need much in the way of foam, but these feel a little light in my opinion anyway. Oil-filled shocks, they feel fantastic. I also would have loved to see inner fenders or an inner fender option. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't include that. And I wonder why that is, because there certainly is a lot of room under there to have done it. Perhaps it's a feature they'll be offering later on, but it could have been something that was just attached to the body, so I'm not entirely sure why they didn't do it, because they're offering it on all their other models, so interesting. In addition to all of the upgrades, they do have metal options for the actual axles. I'd like to see that as well, but knowing Traxxas durability, these will probably be just fine the way they are right stock out of the box. So there you go. That's my first look. I think these are pretty fantastic. I'm pretty impressed with what Traxxas has been able to do. They tend to do this though. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but take a look back at the TRX4. When that was released, they sort of felt out the market and did a lot of homework and made their truck, despite some of the things that I don't like about it, certainly a lot more feature-rich and superior to what was on the market at the time. And it forced the rest of the competition to step up their game. Are we going to see that same thing happen here in 18th scale? Only time will tell. I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much to Traxxas for sending these two my way so I could do a quick run and review. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. There will certainly be more content coming in the future on the TRX4M. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.